Good morning, the COT data video for the week beginning the 21st of October 2024. Christian's done the video. I'm sorry that he's done the data for us early on the Saturday, so that's really good. So we've got the whole weekend to digest the information. It's worth noting that the pound's got some good scores on the QDB scores. So this takes into account fundamental, technical and sentimental data. Also Aussie Swiss and Aussie Kiwi, and perhaps EJ as well, and EN have got good scores. Also UJ and dollar CAD as well. So they've got high scores, so they should perform okay. All right, so remember we're looking at the sentiment for our entries, and I did put something out on Discord which I think is going to go quite well, but you'll have to check the yen channel. Okay, so I don't want to make it like public, just a way to get people to go into Discord and check the contents, but there is like a trade set up there. All right, and so let's come to the COT data. The euro has fallen quite aggressively. We've come from plus 71,000 to 17,000, so it's a big dump. But also note that the dollar is actually negative, minus 2,100. So they're both negative, but this one has been sold off quite heavily. It's worth noting that this video, this data is from Tuesday night. So the banks report their stuff, their positions at this date, at the close of Tuesday, but then it's released for public consumption Friday night. So this data is delayed. So I had a question about this and how to use it, but it's just the only thing that we've got available from bank positioning. It's the only thing we have. Although it's delayed, it's the best we have. Okay, so it is what it is almost. Okay, so do note that the euro has descended and the dollar also is in negative territory, which is really interesting. Okay, let's put on the yen. And the dollar ended a streak as well. I think it was a 10-day streak. So, statistically speaking, we had to break that streak yesterday, and we did. And we'll just have to see how we go. Yen has ticked slightly lower, but was positive, 34,000. We've come up from 66,000. So positive, but just slightly ticked down there. All right, so yen's going to be tricky, but we are strong because we're above this euro. Okay, so it could well tick lower. To be fair, we could just follow this euro down. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. Okay, ideally it will tick higher if the banks were interested in buying, but they weren't that interested in buying the yen. Hence that little tick down there. So negative, negative, negative. So EJ and EU might be a bit tricky. Euro off, Aussie on. How are we looking? Tick down, 19 from 34. Okay, so far everything's ticking down. Right? It could be a bit of a tricky week, and pound has ticked down. We've got the budget coming up at the end of the month, and it's going to be quite bad for small businesses and entrepreneurs, and a lot of the millionaires are probably going to be leaving the country, and it could be a little bit of a disaster. They should be looking after small businesses and people with like limited accounts, but they're looking to increase the tax that they pay by double. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't agree with it at all, because I had my own limited company in 2010, and that would have probably done huge damage. I'm trying to earn a living, and they're taxing these people who are trying to make the country a better place. So I'm not really sure about what Labour are doing. They're just taxing these limited companies, which I don't agree with. But maybe you could argue they're getting paid too much. I don't know, but it's going to be quite a big thing with the elections, and I should probably imagine the pound could fall, but we have to remember it's got a good score. All right, so fundamentally it could be a bit tricky, but we may do okay up to the budget. Okay, if I said elections, I apologize, I meant to say budget. Okay, so it could be a little bit heavy pending the outcome of that budget. All right, so also we should encourage business. We shouldn't really be ejecting business. It's not good practice. We want to be looking after those people, so not trying to discourage entrepreneurs, which is what they're going to do. CAD. CAD dropped heavy. Okay, so minus. Oh wow, it's really heavy, isn't it? 70,000 to 122,000. So it's really heavy. Okay, our oil also really had a terrible week as well. We had a really ugly week on oil, and the reason for that is fundamental based. Israel promised not to attack any oil refineries and stuff like that, and also the herd were very long oil as well, and that was a bad combination. So oil had its worst week in a long time, and CAD's dropped as well. So CAD off and gold on, and we're just sort of, well, we're strong, aren't we? We're just trending higher basically. It's plus 278,000 to 286,000. So mega strong. Be careful about selling it. Like I said in Telegram, it's going to continue higher pending that the herd continues to sell. And we can see on the see, we saw they added short on gold. Okay, so if they add short, the price is going to go higher. Okay, so very, very, very simple, under like a methodology. It's a very simple thing. If they're short, which they are massively, and they add short, price is going to come up. Okay, so that's that. Gold's going up higher. My cat's got the zoom in, so if you heard her, I apologise for that. Gold off, and Kiwi on. It's probably going to be boring, and it's just kind of just going sideways. We are just chopping sideways on New Zealand dollar, and we have to remember, talking about Aussie and Kiwi, is that we could see some Trump trades taking in. We know that he's going to be increasing the tariffs on Chinese companies. If so, fundamentally, Aussie could fall. So if we see a big heavy move on the Aussie, it could be like a Trump trade, because it's looking likely going to win, but we'll have to wait and see for the US elections. And so New Zealand dollar was sideways, and the Swiss franc is probably going to be chopping to, we're within that range, aren't we? So just COT data video for this coming week. Remember, it's all we have, and so if you're wondering how to use it, we just use the COT data alongside the sheet, or if you don't have access to the sheet, you just look at your technical analysis and sentimental analysis. But it does accompany the sheet very well, especially for trade ideas as well. So hopefully that helps, and if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. And this is a whole new thing now, this add-in. It's really, really powerful. So we can use this for trade ideas alongside the COT data. Okay, so that's the video, and I'll speak to you guys on Monday, Tuesday.